Chairman, may I begin by saying that it's a great honor and privilege to have been invited to speak at this forum, and I therefore want to thank the organizers. I am very delighted. For me, it's a maiden visit to Nigeria, the greatest democracy and economy in Africa. Sadly, this is happening at a time when the tragic abduction of over 200 young girls from their school in Chibok, Borno State, is yet to be resolved. I pray and join in calling for their immediate release and echo the call, bring back our girls. This very unfortunate occurrence demonstrates more than ever the oppression of women in society that leads to their use as pawns in situations of conflict. I don't know about you, but where I come from, the stories we hear of days before we became states, we became countries, was that when communities used to raid one another, they would steal cattle, they would also steal women and children. We can't be tolerating that in the 21st century. As mothers, we have a solemn responsibility to nurture a culture of respect for us and our daughters. Our recognition as equal citizens, deserving respect and protection within the family and society, because it all begins at the family level. For people to grow up thinking women are the easier target. So we have some work to do as a mother. This is a duty we must bear in mind as we raise our children, one we must be conscious of in our daily actions, especially so because actions speak louder than the most emphatic words. I don't remember which said that I cannot hear what you say because what you do is so loud. And I think that's what we must bear. Now, I want to hope and pray that this nightmare will come to an end soon and the girls will be delivered home safely. Women of Africa, like the rest of the world, have a history of oppression and marginalization. And like the rest of the world, we've been fighting for emancipation. And yes, we have made certain measurable achievements, especially so because among the community of nations, we have all become signatories as countries to the international instruments fighting for equality of all people and bringing an end to the discrimination against women and girls. I think we are here to affirm ourselves as women and to say, yes, we can do it. And it has been said here, we can do it. But we need to be self-aware. We need to know that it's about us. We need to move consciously on a daily basis so that we stop giving mixed signals. Because as we cry about discrimination, who is discriminating against us? It's not just the men. The things we undergo daily, we are party to them, because if you're not perpetrating discrimination and you are acquiescing to it, you have joined the oppressor. I was a member of parliament for 20 years until last year March, when there was general elections. And I know that the things we have lobbied in our parliament in Kenya for women, we had to find what soft spot you can touch in a man to make them listen to you. Even those who were so much against affirmative action, the moment you mention their daughters, the moment you mention their mothers and their sisters, they will begin to listen. You may not win them in a day, but that is always the entry point. And we found eventually we could get support. The support is never constant, because until most of society is sensitized, and most means you, me, and our male brothers. Until that consciousness is with the majority, then you get the support today. Tomorrow, the very same people will refuse to support you. So it's a battle that has to be a daily battle. And within those 20 years, there are times we won and we really felt we had made it, only to get a rude shock later when things turn around. And as I don't know what happens here in Nigeria, but in Kenya, in every election, about 60 to 70% of the members are wiped out and new members come in. So if you had sensitized one group, you will have to sensitize another. I survived those 20 years. Last year's general election, I ran for president. I thought my 20 years of experience would get me there. Last year's election, the voters will listen to you talking. They'll even agree with you, but they want you to deliver money fast. And the poor are the majority, I believe, even in Nigeria. Those who are battling with bread and butter issues daily, they actually want you to finish with them because then you are their hope for that day. And our people, in quotes, are honest, because once she takes your money, or he takes your money, they'll feel they are obligated to vote for you. You see? So these are some of the things we have to grapple with. But it's not all about money, because there are other positions of power and decision making we get to without having to give money. Like in my country now, those who are appointed to cabinet are not politicians. Previously, we used to be members of parliament as well as ministers. I've actually been minister for water for 3 years, and I was minister for justice and constitutional affairs for 3.5 years. That's the time we had a parliamentary system. We now have a presidential system. You cannot run for more than one office. You run for one, you miss, you stay out. So I took a conscious decision to run for the presidency. And I gave it my best shot. And I believed I could win. And I still believe it is doable. But with lessons learned, there are many areas that I would need to plug in to do it differently. One of my sisters here said, I think it was BC, that women are great managers, and I believe it. Have you ever thought of that poor woman, how she manages to give a meal to her children so that they grow and sometimes look healthier than our children? Have you ever wondered how they survive on the little amount they have? It takes great management skills. It takes resilience to be able to bring up children against all odds. Even to live and hope. Keep hope alive that every day you can go on. Now, this is the resilience that we as women are endowed with as naturals of life. And this is the resilience we must take to the business world, to the political arena, to public leadership. And yes, we are allowed to make mistakes because we are human. It's not possible that you go through life without mistakes. But don't punish yourself too much for those mistakes. Look at the lessons you can learn from them. Move on and do something different. Now, I was asked to talk about role of women in constitution making. And I wondered, why are we talking about the role of women and not the role of men? Because the role of men is assumed. The role of men in any type of leadership, in anything where decision making is involved, it's a given. But because we are absent everywhere, we even have to start thinking, what is our role? And it is okay, let's think about it. Everything is our issue. from issues that affect us as women, to issues that affect our children, to issues that affect our husbands, our brothers, our sisters. We are the mothers, and we are the caregivers and nurturers in society. Every societal issue is a woman's issue. And in constitution making, it is important to remember that in any country, the constitution is the basic law. So if you want certain things to change, you better have them provided for in the constitution, because any law that is later formed that does not conform to the constitution will be null and void. As women, we have to be at the table because we are part of our countries. I want to agree with Professor that we are slightly more than 50%. I am yet to hear of a country where the men are more than the women. And if there is, those countries in the world will be in the minority. Women are definitely more than men in almost all the places we know of. And if we are talking of democracy as a government by the people for the people, as the rule of the majority, the absence of women from the table undermines democracy. It means that there isn't real democracy when women are absent from decision making. We also say that women's perspectives are not always the same as men's perspective. And the society is better off when we combine male perspectives with women's perspectives. Then we have the whole. So it is our duty, if we want transformational leadership in our countries, in Africa and in the world, it is important that women be part of the leadership, part of the decision making. And it is up to us to mobilize ourselves, to sensitize ourselves as women, to sensitize men, to sensitize the nation, so that we begin from a perspective that affirmative action is not a favor to the woman, it's a favor to the nation. If we begin from that premise, then the resistance will go. But it is not something everybody is going to accept. We need to get involved so that we are not talking from the sidelines. We need to improve governance from inside. We are saying we are managers, and yes, we are. Can we take those management skills in there? Let us participate, not just in making of the constitutions or amending them where we need to amend. Let us also get involved in making the laws. Let's get involved in implementing them. Let's get involved everywhere because we belong. We all cannot be in the same profession. We will need those who are doctors, those who are bankers, those who are teachers. We will spread out. But for goodness sake, let's wake up and get involved. And let us know that if I take Nigeria, and there's a lot of money in this country, yet there is also a lot of poverty. And that's the same with Kenya. If every woman who could gave 1,000 naira to a woman running for governor, they would be able to make it. They would have much more money than the money you are admiring with the men. And if you started giving that woman candidate 1,000 naira, even some of your sons and daughters will join and do the same. It is possible to mobilize, pool ideas, pool resources, because resources are both human and financial. It is possible. But we have to affirm ourselves, believe in ourselves, and say, yes, we can make it. So I want to say our role in the transformational processes is equal to that of our brothers. We need to invite ourselves to the table, to knock on the door, and we also need to come together in one unified voice. When women go for the top seat, like my sister going for governor there, or me going for president, even the women's organizations championing women's rights tend to fear, and they desert you. Instead of coming to support, they will desert you. They will be saying they don't want to be partisan. You see? Let us be bold. We must start supporting one another, and it is not too late to declare sisterhood as international. And it is not a sisterhood that excludes our men. After all, we are mothers, we are wives, we are daughters. So we cannot exclude our men. But it's a sisterhood to hold hands, to mentor each other, to build each other, to encourage each other, and to affirm each other. I am very, very touched by my sister here, Abiola Hasfat, because she is not just talking about the issues in Borno State. She has been there. She is mobilizing. Let's not just talk about women's participation and empowerment. Let us get into the arena and each one of us do something about it. And it's not too much now to end by saying, be the change that you want to be. Thank you.